Also new tonight, President Donald Trump doubles down on his threat to close down the southwestern border with Mexico. He spoke tonight at the National Republican Congressional Committee's spring dinner.
It's going to be a big toll, but trade and commerce and making money for a country, it's all very important. But to me, the most important job I have is the security of our country, even more important than those other things that I talk about.
And here in Texas, thousands of jobs are on the line.
The impact of a border closure would hit big industries like the food and auto markets. It would also cripple small communities across the state.
KXAN's Alex Caprariello went to Jarrell in northern Williamson County today to hear concerns from a family-run restaurant.
Hi, how are you doing?
It's not easy owning your own restaurant.
You guys have a good night. Thank you. You're just kind of putting out fires all day, every day.
For Brittany Clausen, who co-owns El Pitayo Mexican Kitchen in Jarrell, a potential U.S.-Mexico border closure only adds to her uncertainty for the future.
You never know if this is something that could really happen for us. So on top of all the stresses that it is just to keep our doors open, just to keep from going under financially.
Onions, jalapenos, limes, just about all their fresh ingredients come from Mexico. And without those ingredients, the beloved restaurant that's only been open for about a year would have to close its doors for good.
A border closure honestly would be economically devastating for Texas and the people of Texas, and quite frankly, for many Americans.
Aaron Cox with the Texas Association of Business says there's $1.7 billion of products crossing the border every day.
Pause for a moment and deal realistically with the issue that is at hand, which is immigration, and work together to create a real solutions for immigration.
He says closing the border, even temporarily, could put 700,000 jobs at stake. By keeping the borders open, Cox says the U.S. government can still tackle the immigration debate without hurting those Texans just trying to stay afloat.
We're just trying to keep our doors open, trying to keep our lovely ladies employed.
In Jarrell, Alex Caprariello, KXAN News.
Cox says there are other businesses you may not think of right away that would take a hit. He says 16,000 trucks cross the Texas-Mexico border each day. They rely on hotels, convenience stores, and of course gasoline stops in communities all across Texas. And without them, small-town economies may struggle. President Trump's most important ally in the Senate is not in favor of shutting down the southern border.
Well, we certainly have a crisis at the border. I think the president's right about that. Closing down the border would have potentially catastrophic economic impact on our country, and I would hope we would not be doing that sort of thing.
In Austin today, the Texas Senate adopted a resolution declaring the border situation an emergency. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says President Trump is right that emergency action must be taken immediately, including increasing personnel, enhancing technology, and building barriers where they are needed. For those of us who live in this state with over 1,000 miles of border, the fact of this emergency is not debatable.
Actual border closures are pretty rare. The president has the authority to set limits at ports of entry. Following the attacks on September 11th in 2001, the country didn't close the southern border, but President George W. Bush increased security. There were checks at every port. Daily crossings became much longer ordeals. And in February 1985, President Ronald Reagan closed all Southwest checkpoints after the abduction of drug enforcement agent Enrique Camarena. A Mexican drug cartel abducted him just blocks away from a U.S. consulate. His body was found the following month. The closures were in effect to apply pressure and to find him. Then in 1969, President Richard Nixon launched Operation Intercept, effectively closing the border. It led to heavy searches at ports of entry aimed at stopping drug traffickers. It was discontinued after 2 weeks when Mexico upped its efforts to fight trafficking on its side. But border state economies still took a hit. Prior to that, President Lyndon Johnson briefly closed the border after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. It remained closed until Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested the following day.